So the concept of power in international relations is actually somewhat related to just the concept of power in general. What comes to mind when you hear the word power? Perhaps words like strength. When you hear somebody is powerful, usually you think of the person in the context of physically strong. Sometimes you think of it in the context of something like strong-willed or strongly opinionated. If, for example, somebody's voice is described as powerful, this usually means loud and booming. In international relations, the definition of the word powerful is somewhat related. There are numerous types of power. The strictest definition of power in international relations is the influence that a country possesses, and the distance between two actors. As the power of one actor diminishes, the power of another actor rises. In this example, it can be described almost as something of a dance between two superpowers. For example, the United States and China, or the United States and Russia. You could make the argument, for example, that when it invaded Ukraine and failed in its initial goal of taking over Kiev in under a month, that it lost some power in relation to the US. The same can be true of recent developments regarding China when they released their new AI with a budget that was significantly less what it takes to power American AI. This could be seen as an instance where the power of China increases, whereas the power of the United States decreases. Power is also important in regards to the way their countries are perceived by other countries. As discussed in the answer to the previous question, countries want to align with those that are stronger than them. So if a country is able to show it has power, other countries will likely to follow it. There are different types of power, so hard power is traditional power. Hard power typically refers to military power and economic power. This is a country's ability to wage war, the strength of their military, how prepared their citizens are for military, how many citizens they have in general, and how robust their economy is. These things all lead themselves to hard power. Then you have soft power, which is something more akin to culture. Soft power can be described as something akin to influence. So, for example, spreading your culture through things like film, things like language or cultural exchange, and also the exchange of ideas such as things like literature. An example of soft power is something like Hollywood and the fact that a lot of different people around the world watch American movies. There are a number of people in countries that aren't close to America in the slightest, who have never visited the country and don't know the first thing about what life is like to live there, who see Hollywood movies and actually want to go there because of the experiences portrayed in these movies. This is an example of soft power. There's also something called science power. Science power is a form of soft power that is derived from technology. Technology, innovation, invention, and these sorts of things. Science power is a power that is increasingly relevant in our world today. So, some examples of countries that have some form of science power would be the United States with Silicon Valley and its large and its number of contributions to the tech field with tech that is used globally. Japan with its influence in electronic media such as video games and anime, and also China with the app TikTok, which has gained incredible popularity. And recently, China saw its science power skyrocket when it released the aforementioned AI model DeepSeek. A new AI model, which, as previously mentioned, costs significantly less than other models to produce. They also left out the source code, so in the case it gets banned, it can simply be recreated. But when you think about power, hard power is usually associated more with authoritarianism and strong government or totalitarianism, while soft power is usually associated more with the ideas of liberalism, as well as various forms of cultural aspects and things of that nature. Truly powerful countries have a sort of balancing act, and this can be seen in countries like the current superpowers, such as the United States, China, and Russia. All of these countries have significant military power, being top three in military. They have significant economic power, and they also have significant cultural power through soft power. I mentioned the previous example of Hollywood. The United States also has English being its official language, as the lingua franca, well, not official language, but the language primarily spoken by Americans, giving it an advantage economically, which is a form of soft power. And in the case of China, it has, as I mentioned, things like TikTok for soft power. And in the case of Russia, it has Russian as something of a lingua franca of the former Soviet states, which again is a form of soft power. So these countries have a balancing act between hard power and soft power, which is what countries typically try to do in order to gain more overall power, because because countries are always looking to get a leg up over other countries, and as previously mentioned, the power can be described as the distance between two states. As that distance grows or shrinks between countries, then one country can overtake the other, and you will always find countries jostling for position between the two of them.